Hello, everyone. This is Sinema77, horror and cult film lover, and welcome to my first theme week, porn theme week. Of all the things I could have done for my first theme week, I'm going to do porn. Anyway, though, welcome everybody. I hope that you're going to enjoy the week. I got a lot of videos planned, and there's going to be plenty of the top 10 videos. We're going to do 3 movie reviews this week. I'm going to do a spotlight on Sasha Grey. So hopefully this does good. Hopefully I make hopefully everybody enjoys this, and maybe we can do another one because there's definitely plenty of movies about porn. For anybody who's never watched any of my previous videos or anything like that, if you haven't heard the news, I'm not going to review actual porn films. Okay. First of all, that would just be tedious and boring. And like I said, I think Cinema Snob can do that a whole lot better than I can. What I'm going to do is I'm going to review movies that where the theme of the movie has to do with porn, where porn plays an element in the film, rather than just review a porno itself. And I'm going to start off. The first one I'm going to start off with is Lovelace. And now I know probably a lot of people would be sitting there thinking, like, if you're going to do a movie, you're going to sit here and talk about porn or something like that. Why don't you just do Boogie Nights? That seems like that would be the easiest one to do. It's like, actually, that's kind of why I want to wait on that one. It's not that I don't want to do it. I do want to do it. I'm going to say, if this does well, I want to do another porn theme week down the road. And, hopefully, everything goes well. And I probably go ahead and do Boogie Nights next time. But I just thought that, honestly, I thought that was so low hanging fruit that, to start off with that one. But I will do it. But but I really I wanted to try something a little bit different and try to, maybe something not too many people have heard of as much. So that's why I went ahead and for my drama, I'm going to do Lovelace. And this movie came out, what is it, 2005, I believe it was. Um, hmm, where'd you say? Oh, 2012. I'm sorry. Okay, so the movie came out in 2012, and this is basically it's kind of a autobiography about Linda Lovelace, who real quick, let me show you what she looked like in real life. Now, this is a picture of her with her then husband when she was doing pornographic films. This was her with her husband slash manager, Chuck Trainer, and we're gonna get into that. And so, yes, most people, if you don't know who Linda Lovelace is, I don't know how many porn films she did. The only one they mentioned in this movie is Deep Throat. Now, if she did any other pornos, I don't know about. I got to be honest, I don't. I'm not an expert on Linda Lovelace. I don't know everything she's done, so I don't know if Deep Throat was like the one and only movie she ever did. I don't know if she did any other follow-ups to it, but here she is. This is another picture of her. She looks amazing. She was a beautiful, lovely woman, and she had done porn for a little while, and then years went by, and then we're gonna get into it. But she quit the porn industry. But then she came out, and she ended up. Hang on, sorry, just I got another picture of her. She came out and she wrote a book about her experiences in the porn industry and about the abuse that she had suffered. As a matter of fact, that's a picture of her holding her book called Ordeal. And she came out and she fought very strongly for women's rights. And, I do believe that, she fought strongly for women's rights, but I think also, too, she did get backlash from people saying that they thought that, she was lying, and or events didn't happen the way she said they did and stuff like that. People thought she was just trying to cause problems or create drama. So I think she got a little bit of a backlash, but ultimately I think she just really, the main thing, she emerged as a hero for women's rights against domestic violence and abuse and things like that. And so basically this movie is talking about that story. Okay, now we're going to talk about the movie, and this movie is actually, it's a good movie. It's very well done. You have a really big ensemble cast in this film. You have Amanda Seyfried, you have Peter Sarsgaard, Hank Azaria, Adam Brody, Bobby Cannavale. I hope that's how you say it. James Franco, Debbie Mazar, Chris Noth, Chloe Savini, Sharon Stone, Juno Temple. Yeah, other actors in here too. Like Wes Bentley is in here. Her dad in the movie is played by Robert Patrick. That's a funny thing. Like in the movie, her dad's played by Robert Patrick. Her mom's played by Sharon Stone. So that would be an interesting thing to tell a therapist, wouldn't it? My mom is Catherine Trammell, and my dad's the T1000. So it's like my mother would have kinky sex with my dad, stab him with an ice pick, but it didn't matter because he could just morph back and be perfectly fine. But but anyway, though, no, you do have a really good cast in here, a very big cast in this movie, and um, I will say that right off the bat, Amanda Seyfried. I did a last week. I did a review on Jennifer's Body, and I talked about Amanda Seyfried as an actress and stuff. And it's like, yeah, she is beautiful, she's gorgeous and stuff. But at the same time, though, too, I mean, I did also mention that I really did enjoy her work as an actress, and here's a picture over there. But yeah, I did enjoy her work as an actress, and I honestly thought that she did a great job with this movie. I think she was really good in it. Overall, I think it is a good movie. I would say if there was anything about this movie, if I had any kind of a negative thing to say about it, it would just be that it's not an entirely original kind of film. I mean, this kind of movie, no disrespect intended or anything like that, but this is the kind of movie it feels like you could see at least 10 of these movies a week on the Lifetime network. But other than that, it's a good film. Now the movie starts off, you start with a young Linda Lovelace, played by Amanda Seyfried here, and she's living, she's pretty much living a normal suburban lifestyle. She's a young girl, she's hanging out with her friend, played by Juno Temple. Um, her mother, played by Sharon Stone. You realize she comes from a very strict religious household, and it's like because they're out sunbathing in the backyard, and her mother comes out, gets very frustrated with her and stuff, and so so Linda, she's yeah, she's got this strict religious upbringing and stuff like that, but at the same time though too, she's a good girl overall. She doesn't get into too much trouble or anything, but her and her friend, they're gonna go out, hang out, go to a show, stuff like that. And it's at this show that she meets Chuck Trainer, who's played by Peter Sarsgaard, who he does a good job in the film. Um, I got to be honest though, I mean, I'm sure the guy's a nice guy in real life and everything else, but after watching this and Boys Don't Cry, it's like he plays an abusive guy very well, very well. But so anyway, so they meet and they start, getting together, and they start, kind of dating and stuff like that. And at first, he comes across as really sweet and nice guy, shows that he's got a real genuine interest in Linda, and he really thinks the world of her, thinks she's beautiful, thinks she's special, tells her she's special and beautiful and stuff like that. And, shows like he really cares about her and everything else. Well, it's like, as their relationship is progressing, she's kind of getting into more and more trouble with her mom and everything else, to ultimately the point they can't they can't stand being in the same room anymore. So she moves in with Chuck, and they decide that they're going to get married and everything else. And so they get married, and it's not too long into the marriage that she starts to realize it's that kind of story where in the beginning, girl meets girl who's naive and not really, knowledgeable about the whole world. She meets a guy. She thinks the guy's interested in her. She falls in love with him and everything. He falls in love with her and all this other kind of stuff. But it's like once they get married, you come to see he's got this kind of Jekyll and Hyde personality, and it starts to come out. So it's like she goes to bail him out of jail, and then it turns out, well, he's always in debt all the time, and that he always needs money, and he's gambling and kind of pissing their savings away and all this other kind of stuff. And so he's asking her like, "Do we have any money left?" And I think she's saying like, "We got like $36 left. That's all we have." And so he decides that he's gonna put his wife to work. So he takes her into audition for a to audition to work in a porn film, and the two guys there, I believe is Bobby Cannavale. I hope that's how you say his last name. And Hank Azaria, they're the guys who are getting ready to make the movie Deep Throat. And so she's auditioning for them, and she's not blowing them away with her audition. And so, Bobby, he's playing Butchie Perino, who the funny thing is horror movie fans would definitely recognize that name because if you ever watch the documentary, the shocking Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the shocking truth, you know that Butchie Perino was the mafia guy who ran Bryanston Pictures, and he ended up basically they made a deal with him to distribute Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and ultimately he pretty much took the money, and they said that the movie made all this money, and um, basically kind of ended up ripping everybody off, and so they ended up suing him and took down Bryanston Pictures. So, but anyway, though, yeah, he ended up taking their money. They ended up suing him, and basically they brought down Bryanston Pictures, and they ended up getting the movie back, and and turned out, sorry, my throat's a little dry. Turned out pretty much everybody that worked on that movie ended up getting pretty much getting screwed over. They didn't get the money that they were paid and stuff. But anyway, coming back to this movie, so Butchie, he's trying to tell, Chuck Trainer, like, yeah, we don't think that this girl's we don't think she's got the goods. We don't think that she's going to be what we need for this movie and stuff like that. And meanwhile, Chuck Trainer's, no, 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 come on, man, let me show you. We did some stuff at home together. Let me show you what she's got and everything else. And so, he starts showing it. He's like, come on, man, look, look. And, meanwhile, he's like, just, no, man, honestly, dude, she hasn't got it and all this stuff. But Hank Azaria's character, he starts watching the footage, and basically he's watching her pretty much, give a blowjob, watch her perform oral sex on a man. And he's like, wait, 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 Butchie, 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 look at this, look at this, look at this. And then they start looking, it's like, wait a minute, is that the same girl? And it's like, yeah, that was her and all this stuff. It's like, oh my God. It's all like, I was like, yeah, we don't mean anything. I mean, my God, her skills are unbelievable and all this stuff. And basically that's what gets them on board to go ahead and hire Linda to do their movie Deep Throat. And as a matter of fact, I think it's Adam Brody, if I remember correctly. I think he's playing Harry Reams, and they meet and they're getting ready to do their first scene together. And supposedly it's kind of like talking about how like Harry Reams has this incredible staying power with sex and everything else. And ultimately, she ends up, yeah, she kind of breaks his resolve, if you know what I mean. He goes in like just a minute instead, and they're like, "Wait a minute, man, you never had this problem before," and all this stuff. It's all like, I couldn't help it. It's like, I didn't think she was going to be this good at it, and all that stuff. And she's in there. Did I do something wrong? And everybody at the same time, no. But so anyway, they make the movie, and it's getting ready to come out, and the movie's going to be a big hit, and they're meeting a lot of people, and she's she's kind of getting used to the idea that she might become a star, and that they even at one point in the movie they come to that, to me that was like the worst part in the movie in a way, because it's like what starts off as like should have been one of the best nights of her life actually turns into a nightmare, because she goes to this premiere screening and stuff where James Franco, he shows up, he's playing Hugh Hefner, and he's talking about, yeah, I want you to come sit with me. We're going to watch the movie together and stuff. And so she's watching the movie, and he's telling her, like, I think you're going to be something big. You're going to be a huge star. You're going to be wonderful and all this stuff. And, I see, I've seen girls come and go, and I think you can really become something special. And she gets up there. She's getting the red carpet treatment. She's, going on stage to take a bow. She's getting applause. She's getting so much love and just all out from everybody and stuff. Then she goes home, and then Chuck comes home, and he's telling her, we're gonna go to a party. I need you to go with me and stuff like that. And so she's like, okay. Well, first she hesitates, but she goes with him, and then they go to this hotel, and it turns out he's collected all this money from these men to basically rape her. So all these men come in and they take turns raping her and stuff like that, and she's trying to get away from him, and he's beating her up and everything. And then we realize like this, it's one of those kind of deals. It's like he becomes her pimp. He's like constantly wanting money for her all the time. He's telling like Butchie Perino and them like, hey, wait a minute, I'm a producer. She's my wife. She's my investment. She's my product and all this other kind of stuff. And so kind of like they're not against her. They're fine with paying her the money and stuff like that. They just don't want to keep giving money to him because he turns around just pretty much he takes the money, just turns around pisses all away. He keeps coming back wanting more and more money for her and all this stuff. And so he's like trying to prostitute her out and everything else. And so she's trying everything she can to get away from him. And at one point, like they're at a hotel. They're having after like a rap party and all this stuff. And Chris Noth is playing this one character, and so they're like, he tells her, come and sit on this guy's lap, and she's like, I don't want to, I'm kind of talking here, she's talking to one of the guys. She's like, why don't you sit on his lap and stuff like that. And so everybody goes into the hotel. They're having this party, and so they go to this hotel. They're having this party and everything else, and in the next room, they think that that Chuck and Linda are having this wild, crazy sex. Well, it turns out actually it's not going that way. It turns out actually he's in there beating the snot out of this poor woman, and it turns out she has endured this for a long time and stuff, and he's beating her up. He's threatened to kill her. All this other kind of stuff. At one point, she tries to go home. She tries to go. She's asking her mom, "Can I please just stay here for a little bit?" And her mother basically is just like, no, if he hit you, it's because you did something to deserve it. And unfortunately, that did seem to be a mindset. I've seen that in other movies too. It seemed like back in the day, it seemed like that was kind of a lot of people's mindsets. If you got married, you put up with it no matter how good or bad it was. It didn't matter. If he turned around and beat the shit out of you, it didn't matter. You had to put up with it. And so I felt, you feel so bad for her. She's like, Mom, please just let me stay just for a day or two or something. And so, she's all like, no, you need to go home to your husband. So, I mean, she's really got nowhere to go. And, so, they're talking about they want to make more movies with her. They want to do more stuff with her. And she really doesn't want to do this anymore. And, at one point she goes to see Chris Noth's character, and he's got a black eye, or she's got a black eye. I'm sorry. And so he's all like, okay, so you're all right. It's like, just stay with me here. And so Chuck, he's looking for her, and he finds out that she's at this hotel, that she's in this room. So he goes to this room, and he finds out that actually she's not there. That Chris Noth set it up to put her in a different room so she'd be safe. And it turns out because that's the thing, these people that they're dealing with, they're mafia. They're Bryanston, that distributed Deep Throat and produced the film and everything. It was a mafia run company. And so, and the thing was as far as they were concerned, Linda, she was she was one of their investments. She was a product they were going to, and he's damaging their investment. So they're going to protect it. So they turn around and they beat him within an inch of his life, telling, don't you ever lay a hand on her again. Don't you go near her, all this other kind of stuff. And, it turned out like he was taking all their money. He was using it to buy drugs, and he was gambling and all this other kind of stuff. So, I mean, just an all around great guy. But so anyway, ultimately Linda leaves, and she, years later she gets married, and she's got a family and stuff. And like I said, it seemed like she went into hiding for a while, and then she reemerged because she wrote a book dealing about her, dealing with her ordeal and everything else. And so she started doing talk shows and things like that, and explaining to people what had happened to her. And she started, really like crusading for women's rights and everything else, and helping women against, domestic violence and things like that. And, we realized that, she was actually able to patch up the situation with her mother and everything else, that they had, forgiven each other and everything else. This is a good movie. It really is a good movie. And, you got a great cast in here. Like I told you, all the people that are in this movie. And, Amanda Seyfried, I mean, not only is she amazingly gorgeous, she's fantastic in this movie. She gives a great performance. She's not weak in any form. I mean, she plays it so good. This movie, there really is no weak links in this film. Everybody gives a good performance. Sarsgaard, Sharon Stone. I mean, everybody in this movie, they all do good in here. So, I highly recommend this movie. I would say watch it. You do feel, sorry for Linda Lovelace. You feel bad that she went through all these things, and you're glad that she emerged a stronger person for it. That later in life, this being a true story, yeah, it's great that later in life she found true happiness. She had a family. She was able to, make money and basically live a good life, and help other women who had to go through the same things that she did. And so it's like, yeah, it is an inspiring story. Like I said, I think that's the only negative thing I could say about this is just that it's not an entirely new kind of movie. It's just like I said, it seems like you could get on Lifetime Network and you could see at least 10 movies a week with pretty much the exact same storyline and theme to it. But ultimately, though, I do recommend this movie. It's not entirely original, but it is good. It is good. It's well made. It's well directed. You got great performances. Amanda Seyfried, it's like I've always liked her as an actress. Yeah, she's super gorgeous and super beautiful, but she is actually a good actress to watch. I've seen her like, I remember like watching her on Big Love. She was great on that. Mean Girls, Ted 2, Million Ways to Die in the West, stuff like that. I always thought she was a good actress. I always thought, not only super beautiful, but super talented as well. And pretty much, yeah, it is an interesting story. It's an inspiring story, but also too, it's just, it's about a woman who, she got into the porn industry and stuff like that, and she was able to get out of it. One thing I think is kind of funny, though, I mean, maybe it's just me. I don't know. But, the one thing I think is kind of funny is when I hear these stories nowadays about people talk, you hear people talk about like, I know people who like, they collect vintage porn films. They don't buy any of the new stuff. They collect like all the 70s stuff. They want like, if they're going to buy porno movies, they're going to buy like Debbie Does Dallas or Deep Throat or Behind the Green Door or stuff like that. They're not going to go for any of this new stuff. But, it's kind of funny how it's like, they're like, oh my God, the porn industry today is so despicable and horrible and everything else. And yet they seem to have this kind of nostalgic kind of looking at it through rose colored glasses kind of feel when they think about like the old days of porn. And it's like, you hear stories like this. It's all like, I don't think the porn industry is very good today, but I don't think it was very good then either. That's just me. But you hear stories about like Linda Lovelace, or you hear stories about John Holmes and the Wonderland murders and stuff like that. That's another movie I want to try to get around to one of these days. But no, overall, yeah, I mean, this is a good film, good performances. Yeah, it is good. It's like it's interesting. It's a good biography. Kind of gives you some insight into, not a lot, but kind of gives you a little bit of insight into what, like how the porn industry was back in those days. A lot of partying, a lot of drugs, things like that. But yeah, ultimately, I do recommend this movie. Yeah, Lovelace. So anyway, that's going to do it. So that's the first movie. We got two more movies to come this week. Tomorrow night, we're going to do Life and Death of a Porno Gang. I would do Serbian. They say if you're going to do a porno horror film, why don't you do Serbian film? Well, the thing is, I've already reviewed Serbian film. It's on my channel if you want to find it. And so yeah, I just figured like the next best step would probably be Life and Death of a Porno Gang. So, and then Thursday we're gonna do Orgasmo. I want to do a comedy, and it just seemed like that would be the first best one to go with would be Orgasmo. So anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy this theme week. Hopefully everything goes good. I thank you for watching this, and I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. There's going to be plenty of fun stuff coming up this week, and plenty of feast for the eyes. I promise that much. And so anyway, again, everybody, this is Sinema77, and hope you enjoy the rest of my theme week, my porn theme week. And have a good night. Take care. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.